I got nothing for the cold open this week. No, genuinely, I actually have nothing. Ooh, I know. Have this clip of, Freak Out.
Freak out! You freak.
That's the stuff.
Freak out! Aww, freak out! You freak, says she. Freak out!
This week, I want to take the time to have a more general discussion about the components of a smart home, from the hub to the controllers to the devices to the sensors. Let's talk about that. Wait. No, that's the wrong show. I actually outlined the 4 categories just then. We're going to be covering those 4 areas: hubs, controllers, devices, and sensors. Each of them have varied functions. Some of them can be combined together in an individual smart home product, but we'll talk about each different function. So, let's start with hubs. A hub is fairly self-explanatory. Most often it's just a computer that's designed to communicate with as many smart home devices as possible. These devices will frequently include various transceivers for communicating with all the smart home standards, like we covered in last week's video. So there'll be a Z-Wave transmitter, there'll be a Zigbee transmitter, and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi if it needs them. Most often Wi-Fi is the most commonly one used, and there'll also be Z-Wave and Zigbee as a specialist one. But it can incorporate more than those two. It can be wider, it could include Bluetooth, Z-Wave, Zigbee, it could include all 5 at once if they wanted to. 5 including Matter obviously, but we're not there yet. These devices will also frequently include logic hardware so that you can set up automations directly on the device, and most often these hubs will just take the form of a computer. In fact, you can make a hub out of just a regular PC. That's what I have set up down here. But for the purpose of description, I am going to give you an example of the Home Assistant Yellow. Home Assistant is a tool used for home automation, and they recently started releasing hardware. Their first iteration was just a customized version of an Android N2, which is just a fairly common microcontroller board. But their most recent one, Home Assistant Yellow, is actually a custom-built board for the purpose of being perfect for an open smart home. It has a Z-Wave and Zigbee device integrated with Matter compatibility, and it has an M.2 stick for adding extra expansions like a GPU or an extra storage, so that you, say for the GPU, you could use that for like face detection and stuff like that. They're called AI accelerators in that purpose. And obviously, like I said, you can add extra storage, and then the compute module, which is just a Raspberry Pi 4 compute module, literally slots into the board. It also includes USB ports for extra expansion. So hubs generally are just computers with lots of extra stuff on them to communicate with all devices they need to. Most other devices will port directly to the hub, so devices would get information to and from the hub. Controllers will usually talk to the hub to talk to the other devices and sensors will usually report their information directly to the hub, unless it's necessary for another device. Anyway, let's move on to controllers. Controllers are a fairly simple thing to describe, and I'm looking down to see if my phone's anywhere nearby, but it's not. But the point is that controllers are generally just a thing that sends a command, either manually or automatically, to a device in the smart home, or to the hub. So your phone, in the case of most smart home systems, is a perfect example. These Google Nest things that you can't see behind the neon coding sign, but there's a Google Nest down there, that's a perfect example of a controller, because it can control the devices. Nest thermostats or other thermostats, devices like that. Generally, displays of the information are what we consider controller, because they control the devices. So you could send manual commands to the hub or the other devices, or you could tell to do automated things like how a thermostat can have smart ramp up and ramp down procedures. Those would still be controllers, but they're doing it automatically. So controllers can communicate through the hub, or they can in some cases communicate directly to devices and sensors. Likewise, devices can communicate directly to controllers, but most frequently a hub will be involved just to coordinate some of these things, and particularly in the cases of automation, a hub is almost near essential. Now, devices. Devices are difficult to explain because it's such a wide-ranging topic, but basically it's a thing that does a thing. Something that activates, something that actuates, so smart blinds, smart light bulbs, smart light strips, basically any word for something with the word smart before it is most likely a device. It's something that does something. So smart plugs. Smart plugs is an example. When you tell it to do something, it will flick a relay that either gives power to the device or doesn't. They can have lots of special things integrated in them. They can have power sensors, they can have temperature sensors, all that kind of stuff, but we'll cover sensors in a bit. Devices are very simply just the things doing the things doing the heavy lifting. Devices will most frequently talk to a hub in the course of their actions, but they can also be controlled directly from controllers, like we just said. And sometimes devices will even have sensors in them that can control their actions. Sensors. I knew we'd get there eventually. Sensors are, well, they're sensors. They give us information about the devices or the environment around us. So say for instance the smart plug might have a temperature sensor like I just said. Smart blinds might have a light sensor or a time sensor so you know when sunset and sunrises. A smart light strip will measure its current brightness and its current colour values and it will report those back. That's a sensor. Basically it's anything that gives us information about a device or the environment and reports it back. Again, sensors most frequently communicate with hubs, but obviously they can send their information to controllers, and they can also send their information directly to devices as well, if say a device is relying on a certain temperature or something to do something, like in a smart ventilation or HVAC system. And yeah, we've covered all 4 device types, from hubs to controllers to devices to sensors. All of these have an integral part in a smart home, and frequently all 4 of these will work together to create truly smart automations. Speaking of, well, having a smart home, Nickel Smart Home is coming soon. I'm going to push back my plans for the website. It's not going to be rolling out as soon as I thought it was. I'm going to give myself a little bit more time to make sure I'm truly stable on my commercial software projects, which, much to the delight of both my software clients who I found out watched these videos, so hello. But yes, Nickel Smart Home is coming soon. I don't know when yet. The website still isn't up. I know I've been talking about it in the edits and saying next week, but I will let you know when it is up, and I will let you know when Nickel Smart Home is working in the northeast of England. But for now, that about does it for this week, and yeah, interesting video. Wow, these are new. See you next time. Oh, my back aches, my knee aches, my leg aches. Oh, why do I do this while sitting on a bookshelf? I really hope the backlights weren't on. I don't really care as long as some of the lights were on. Ugh. Stop recording audio. Stop it.